Okay, welcome everyone to our Object Matrix and File Catalyst webinar. My name is Mark Haberfield. I'm Pre-Sales Engineer at Object Matrix. And on the line today, we have Chris Bailey, Director of File Acceleration for File Catalyst by Help Systems. And Nick Pierce,
Hi,
Marketing Director from Object Matrix.
Hi there.
So today we're just going to have a quick intro to the companies, look at the integration itself and a quick demo, and then a Q&A answer session at the end. So we'll get going and let you all know a bit more about us. It's also being recorded, and ask any questions in the chat window so we can answer them during the Q&A. So Object Matrix, I'm going to play you a little video to tell you all about us.
In 2003, Object Matrix created Matrix Store Object Storage. In 2009, we focused on the media industry and only the media industry. And that very year, we started to win customers in broadcast, news, sports, video on demand, post-production, VFX, and corporate video, as our solutions solved major problems the media industry was facing. In 2010, we continued to listen to our customers and help them solve their challenges by building more tight integrations with the tool that they used. Today, there are 3 ways to deploy Matrix Store Object Storage. Firstly, Matrix Store On-Prem, deployed in-house in your data centers. Very powerful, very secure, and your content is accessible from anywhere. Secondly, Matrix Store Cloud, media-focused cloud storage with predictable costs and no egress fees. It's perfect for backup, business continuity, or archive workflows. Finally, Matrix Store Hybrid, a combination of Matrix Store On-Prem, Matrix Store Cloud, or public cloud storage, with the benefits of creating a unified multi-cloud storage platform. With hundreds of global installations, we help our customer community to be more operationally efficient, to collaborate globally, and empower creativity. We've been dedicated to the media industry for over a decade, and we will continue to help you meet your challenges as we evolve to a more relevant and appropriate Cloud 2.0. In 2021, we invite you to join the Matrix Store On-Prem, Hybrid, and Multi-Cloud Storage Revolution. Object Matrix, saving you time and money.
So I told you a little bit about us, and now I will hand over to Chris to tell you a little bit about File Catalyst.
Thanks, Mark. That's a tough act to follow. I got to do mine manually. So for anybody that doesn't know, File Catalyst is a file transfer acceleration technology. So we were founded back in 2000. We've won multiple Emmy Awards for our pioneering of the accelerated file transfer space. We were recently acquired by Help Systems, and Help Systems is a global provider of data security, MFT, robotics, and workflow solutions. File Catalyst will be in with the data security group, and we'll be working very closely with the MFT vendor Go Anywhere to provide a lot more functionality than we currently do. So that's something you can look forward to over the next year to see how we can bring that technology to the media and entertainment space. So we can transfer files up to 10 gigabits with encryption, and we focus on SDK and integration options that allow you to add ingest and distribution capabilities with acceleration to existing solutions like Object Matrix. So that's us at a very high level. You can obviously find out more. Let's go to the next slide, please. Just to give you an idea of the impacts that we can have on file transfer speeds. This graph shows on the bottom the latency, which is going to be larger depending on your geographic location. And FTP is the yellow line, so you can see the speed on a 10 gigabit link here, how it degrades as you get geographically further away from the 2 endpoints that are involved in the transfer, whereas File Catalyst, regardless of the latency on the link, will continue to get you the full speed. Next slide. And then just to translate that into real world scenarios, the top chart is a 1 gigabit connection and the bottom is a 10 gig. And these times are for a 10 gig file transferring between the locations on each row here. So on the top one, bring your attention to the first row, Amsterdam to London, for example, a 10 gig file on a 1 gig link, an hour and 28 minutes with FTP, 1 minute and 23 seconds with File Catalyst. As the distance grows, you'll see that FTP takes longer for that 10 gig file, whereas File Catalyst remains constant. And then the technology is even more effective when you have a higher speed link. So the bottom chart there being a 10 gigabit connection, you'll see dramatic increases in speed with File Catalyst versus FTP when you're looking at distant locations. So 70 milliseconds of latency, LA to New York, for example, FTP 2 hours and 19 minutes and under 10 seconds for File Catalyst. And again, with those high speeds and as the distance grows, we remain constant at those speeds, whereas FTP just becomes slower and slower. And then we take that technology and we've built a suite of applications to allow it to be accessible to end users, especially in the media and entertainment space. So we have applications like our watch folder, hot folder application. That's something you can install on your desktop, for example, or put it as part of a workflow that looks at a folder as media is being encoded, or as you need to transfer it to another endpoint. You just save it into a directory, and our File Catalyst hot folder will accelerate that. Even if it's still being encoded, it'll accelerate it to the other end. We also have ad hoc tools for just dragging and dropping files between two remote locations. We have our transfer agent tool, which is it gives the capabilities to embed File Catalyst technology into an existing web application. You'll see that in a minute with Object Matrix demo. And then we have our dev tools, which includes different APIs you can embed it into mobile applications or any of your native applications. And then we have our off-the-shelf mobile applications as well. Those are, used a lot in the news industry. For example, people in the field shooting video need to get the videos back to, for air in a timely manner. So we then have our server side, which attaches to cloud storage or local storage, and that's where the integration really happens with Matrix Store. So I'll let these guys pick up from there and show how that side of the application works.
Sure. Well, yeah, it is exactly that. We've basically put the File Catalyst server next to our Matrix Store cloud, or you could put it next to your on-prem or the hybrid solution. And that allows us to use all of the Matrix Store tools. So we've been working with File Catalyst through our file system interfaces. So we have the obvious Samba NFS interface, which works nicely. We can be a hot folder or an endpoint to using the Matrix Store in that way. Or we have a more performant tool called MXFS, Matrix Store File System, that again allows you to mount the Matrix Store vault or bucket or workspace as an end destination for the File Catalyst server, and for you to fast move your assets to and from your Matrix Store, wherever it may be. More recently, though, and the reason we're doing this webinar is we've embedded the File Catalyst server into our applications. So we've done some API work to actually embed it into one of our applications called Vision. And I'll show you Vision now. It's a endpoint to see the assets in your Matrix Store. So before I do that, I'll just quickly show you some of the features of Matrix Store. Obviously, Matrix Store is made up of nodes. In the cloud version, you wouldn't see any of this background, but what we've got is a full setup of audits, tasks, making sure the data for date is bit for bit perfect. And we break it out into spaces and vaults. Spaces being the space that we can allow customers to have within a cluster, and then the vaults being the individual buckets or workspaces that we can set up for various bits of compliance and security. So we've got the audits, we've got the limits, we've got the ability to have dual protection, high integrity levels, built-in trash cans to make sure that data is safe in the worst case scenario, and process in place, the ability to extract metadata where it lives in the Matrix Store as soon as it hits us, so that we can then see that with our other tools in the workflow. We've also got built-in replication as well, bit for bit from one cluster to another Matrix Store, whether that's another location in your infrastructure or whether it's to Matrix Store Cloud. But again, some various options where the policy allows us to do those sort of things. In the background as well, we've got a full suite of analytics telling us lots of things about what's happening in the cluster, fault statistics, application statistics, showing you who's using what data at what point throughout the workflow. I mentioned we've got the file system integration. So with File Catalyst, of course, I've got my File Catalyst server running on this machine in 2 seconds, the transfer agent. And when that's open, I can pop it up and set up the configuration. I mentioned before I can add virtual paths. So with MXFS, Matrix Store File System, I could mount one of my vaults to a local drive on this machine. This is where the File Catalyst transfer agent server is running. I can add a virtual path and I can be using my Matrix Store as simple as pressing a few buttons. Nice, easy stuff in that way. The beauty of Matrix Store is also our vision interface. Vision is a front end into the objects. Now, this isn't a database. This isn't what you expect. This is actually reading everything live from the Matrix Store. It means it's very, very secure. We've got many customers hosting it on the internet, and we have obviously got our Matrix Store cloud using it on the internet. But from the point of view of File Catalyst, we've embedded the File Catalyst stuff into Matrix Store so that we can trigger, we can download it. If we're local, high res, we can download a proxy if we're just working in a proxy workflow, or we can download with File Catalyst as well. And that'll trigger the File Catalyst server to take it as fast as possible using the transfer agent in the background.
Mark, one of the comments that we often get from customers using Vision or working from anywhere, as we're trying to do at the moment, is that, you know, being able to share and collaborate globally. People with poor internet connections at home or wherever they are, it's important to be able to efficiently move data around globally. You know, many teams are, as Chris showed in his slide, you know, split between LA, New York, London, Paris. And so moving that data around is important, but also the ability to quickly share content. And I think that's where the benefit of the integration in Vision comes from, is that ability to find stuff quickly, get a link and share it with someone. And then that person can play the proxy directly in Vision. And if that's the piece of content they want, they can choose to download the high res in incredibly quick fashion using that File Catalyst integration. So I think the benefits here for the end user are multiple.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And I think we're also seeing a lot of people upload as well, people using this for delivery of their rushes or external companies globally delivering to the post house, etc. So we've got the upload with File Catalyst button as well. And that triggers to open up and then you can take it from your local machine. If I go into my desktop, I've got some assets lying around here. I can also then choose my vault, in my case, the file acceleration vault, and I'll go into this new assets folder. I can drop in, let's take this one here, hit the upload button. And again, that's going to use the file transfer agent to really quickly speed that straight into my Matrix Store vault. And then of course I can go back to Vision and I should see that asset coming up pretty quickly. So instant access to the data as it arrives. You can see the little activity monitor there as well, moving that data around for us, letting us know it's getting into the system. Of course, Vision's got other benefits, like you said, playing the proxy, allowing the ability to JKL support, see your asset live in use, as well as all that excellent metadata you can see on the right-hand side there, the media info, XMP info, AS11, etc., as well as some of the standard things where you can just add metadata, add tags, and generally do management of your assets as you need to throughout the system. So that's a quick overview of the Matrix Store and the Vision side of things. Go into new assets, as you can see, my video is uploaded and I can play it straight out and see that all important metadata as well as share it. So let's go back to the main presentation and let's move over to the Q&A session. So
myself and Chris are going to answer some questions that that we have already been sent. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please pop them in the chat window. And that way, when Mark inevitably disappears down a 10 kilobit broadband hole in about 2 seconds, myself or Chris can ask the questions for him. So, Mark, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. I mean, sure. The first question I was going to ask you is just how long have you been in the media industry?
Go, Chris.
Sure. Well, File Catalyst has been around since it's a product that we built in around 2005. And we built it specifically in response to the move from SD to HD and the move from tape to digital. So right in around that time is when that big HD push and the move to digital. So we started going to NAB, I believe, in 2006, and then IBC in 2007, and we've been a mainstay there ever since. Obviously, we've moved into some bigger deployments. We did several Olympic Games, and as I mentioned earlier, won some Emmy Awards for being a pioneer in the space. So yeah, we've been around for quite a long time and built up a good portfolio of ISV partners like Object Matrix along the way.
Wow, 15 years of NAB. You must be pleased not to have had to go on last year.
It was a nice break. You get sick of Vegas. Even if you're only there for a week and a half, you get a little bit sick of it. Those guys on the street with those cards. And
even if you're only there for a day, you get sick of it.
Yeah, exactly.
After that many years. I mean, from us, we pioneered object storage. We've been around since 2003. We put the world's first object storage into a creative workflow in 2006 in an ad agency in the UK. But we specifically focused on the media industry and only the media industry since 2009. So for that period, we have been working with broadcasters, post, ad agencies, telcos, but that also includes corporate video like banks, emergency services, and that sort of thing. So the benefit of us working in this industry and only this industry is that when a customer says, hey, look, we work with this fantastic company, File Catalyst, who we've known for years, by the way. It'd be great if you guys could make something a bit more integrated with each other. And so that's what we did. We listened to our customers and collectively, you know, Object Matrix and File Catalyst put the effort in to make this integration work. Over to you, Mark. Can't hear
Cool.
you.
So, Chris, obviously, File Catalyst merged in with Help Systems this year. How does that affect and improve File Catalyst?
Right. So on our own, we had strengths and some weaknesses. So our strength has been the core file transfer acceleration technology, the SDKs built upon it. We have a nice set of off-the-shelf products that like watch folders and mobile applications that our customers use to build sometimes very complicated workflows. Where our product suite, I guess, lacked is where Help Systems, and in particular the Go Anywhere MFT product, which is new to probably media and entertainment for people who haven't heard of it. It picks up where File Catalyst leaves off. It provides a customizable web portal that allows you to build submission forms, send secure emails with file attachments, request files from a recipient. So they get an email, you want files, you click the link and they can come and send files to the destination folder that you want. And shared web folders, so where users can log in and they can collaborate on a set of files. So they Go Anywhere MFT, the product that we will be integrating File Catalyst with, provides all those functionalities. And we have a product that does that called File Catalyst Workflow, but it's not as extensive as the products from Help Systems. So really what the relationship with Help Systems will do is allow us to strengthen what we already offered and provide a more extensive feature set. It also provides sync capabilities. We didn't really have a good sync tool. It provides workflow orchestration. So many tools. In the next 6 months or so, and hopefully before the fall trade shows, we will have a full integration completed, and we'll be doing some announcements on that. And our customers, and hopefully some people on this webinar, will be able to see the magic that File Catalyst can do when it's integrated with the Go Anywhere product from Help Systems.
I think the sync and the orchestration stuff sounds really relevant at the moment, Chris.
Yeah, I believe it is. The focus of Go Anywhere MFT till now has been primarily outside of media and entertainment. So of course, when we come in, we're like, if you want this to be relevant in media and entertainment, there's certain things that we need to do. But it's a platform, and it's a generic file transfer platform that can be tailored in much the same way File Catalyst is integrated into Object Matrix. The engine of Go Anywhere MFT can be integrated into media specific solutions. And I believe there's a few off-the-shelf features that can be built into it that we have in our File Catalyst workflow product now that will make it a lot more accessible and usable in the media and entertainment space.
Maybe we should look at how we can strengthen the integration when that's ready.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, so Nick, why should others listening consider learning more about this joint integration then?
Well, if you need to save money or be operationally efficient, if you're looking to move cloudward or in the process of cloudification of your workflows, then you absolutely need to take a deeper look at the integration and the workflows. I mean, basically, before the pandemic, we were working collectively with organizations looking to access their content from anywhere. And I guess the last 12 months has solidified that need for creative professionals to self-serve stuff without waiting for someone in ops to go and find the tape or locate the content for them. And this integration just means that, you know, that file movement, because people aren't, you know, if they're working from home, their broadband may be as poor as yours, Mark, and they need they need to have a system that can help them transfer data, you know, over a poor connection. And our system vision, our back end is all about putting content at people's fingertips. And if people can find and search for things, but then, you know, it takes an age to download it, then that can also be a blocker to creativity. So by making all of the content self-serve instantly, and to have the ability to quickly download the proxy or the high res is super important in many workflows in the creative space. I am going to mention your broadband as much as possible, Mark, in every answer I give.
Not my broadband, it's my hardware. It's wrong with my Mac. I keep telling you this. So Chris, why is this integration between Object Matrix and File Catalyst so important for you?
I think just to echo a bit of what Nick said and expand on a point I made earlier, one, for File Catalyst as a product, it's more of we're a technology provider, and it's important to us to reach out to and integrate with vertical specific solution providers like Object Matrix. We're not going to try to be everything to everyone. And as you can imagine, file transfer reaches well beyond media and entertainment space. And so our strategy has been and will continue to be to provide that core set of off-the-shelf products with the features that media companies need to implement it. Like one of the unique features we have is the ability to start working on files as they grow. Let's say you're encoding, you know, through Avid and sending a file to a remote destination. We're keeping the headers and the essence of the MXF files, for example, up to date, so you can begin working on it as it's transferring, even if it's a live encode. We have features like that, but at the same time, the depth of the features that Object Matrix provides is not something we're looking to build. And for every vertical, there is a set of features like that that's kind of, you know, specific to medical or enterprise or energy. And so, as I was saying, you know, it's important to partner with companies like Object Matrix for us to allow that full media and entertainment experience and also provide that accelerated transfer to this particular vertical. So that's one side. And then I guess, you know, to take it a step beyond what Nick was saying, or to elaborate on his point, with the decentralization of offices, it's important to have these types of technologies, because it used to be that things were a little more centralized, but content was large, so you needed to have a fast way to get stuff in and out of one or two locations. But now with employee bases being so dispersed, it just it extends that problem even further. It's the same problem, but even bigger. Bandwidth is becoming a lot more reliable in some areas. In other areas, maybe not so much. But I mean, having a gigabit fiber connection, and now with the future with 5G, a lot of people will just be plugging in a 5G modem in their home, and they'll be having up to 10 gigabits. But those links are still wireless, and they're still susceptible to impairments. And so, good luck getting high-speed transfers with one or two really big files, which is often the case in media. So a combination for us, this is important because we need to have strong partners in media, and it's important for the end users to have solutions that can accommodate this new reality that we're living in now with the pandemic. And I don't think things are going to change once the vaccine rolls out. I think we've seen that this can work. Our hand was forced a little bit, but I think people are going to remain working from home. And I think technologies and partnerships like this are imperative to have going forward.
Yeah, very good. Well, you mentioned the pandemic there. You know, how's this going to help companies in the post-pandemic world, do you think?
Well, I think Chris has alluded to it, and then maybe I did in the last point. You know, post and production companies generally need to get their hands on content. Typically, you know, if you take customers like ours just down the road, Gorilla, very much a facility-based, everyone in the building working prior to the pandemic, and now they're doing a huge amount of stuff remotely. And I think, again, as Chris alluded to, we will see probably a hybrid approach of people being in the facility and at home as we go forward and get back to whatever sort of normality we're going to get back to. Yeah, I think that capability to access content from anywhere, and also, you know, when we get back to events, we've got customers who do, you know, whether it's a nice Steddfod up in the valleys or a sports event, they're going to need to get access to their content from stadiums. You know, in particular, the Matrix or Cloud customer we have in the sports world was one of the drivers for making sure that we got File Catalyst integrated into Vision, because when there's a tournament on, they need to get access to that content from anywhere. And so that isn't necessarily pandemic related. That's just a required workflow for doing remote production. So I think this was a very useful integration and workflow before the pandemic, and it's more so now for those companies, and will continue to be.
Mark, I just wanted to make sure you saw the questions coming in the chat as well.
Yeah, I was just going to shift over to them next. So yeah,
Perfect.
Let's start with the first one, probably for Chris. File acceleration is great, but isn't it very expensive?
Well, I mean, there's a return on investment, right? So as Nick was just alluding to, post-production, getting files there from A to B faster, and time is money, right? We do have some very cost-effective pricing structures that our competitors don't necessarily have. For instance, we can take, if you have a project that only lasts for a month, for example, or you have a finite amount of data, you can prepay for an amount of data, send that amount of data, and then you're done. We also have subscription pricing that can be as short as 3 months, but could be up to a year or more. So if you have a production that lasts for only a couple of months and you're done, you won't use it the rest of the year, we don't lock you into, you know, paying for longer term subscriptions. We also have the traditional perpetual models that you can go with as well, with annual support and maintenance. If this is for an ongoing use case that you know is going to be you know, happening for a number of years, then the most cost-effective solution is still that perpetual model. But we do, if you check out filecatalyst.com, there's pricing available, and you can see where the pricing starts at, so you can get an idea of how the entry point looks to get in. And it's, once you have the File Catalyst license, then it will just be a switch that you can kind of turn on within Object Matrix. So,
Mark, you missed a question. Question one.
I'm just
Does Vision launch File Catalyst Direct as a new window, or does it mean the transfer is carried out within FC rather than Vision? So can you answer that one?
I can try and answer. I think Mark's a little bit frozen. Oh, he's going.
Go on, Mark.
So yeah, Vision itself. I was just going to say, yeah.
All right, turn your video off, Mark, if boss.
Vision itself calls the File Catalyst API so that it runs the actual transfer in File Catalyst. Do you want to add more to that?
With my
Yeah,
sales hat on, yes.
I can add a
Chris,
bit more
go.
to that, Nick. Yeah,
Go,
so
Chris.
once a web application, in this case Vision, launches File Catalyst is running as a service, sort of an agent on the local machine. So it's basically making calls from their web UI to the agent and starts the transfer. At that point, you can actually close the browser and the transfers will continue. Or you can relaunch the browser and you'll see the progress, but it does actually run outside. I believe the download experience that was shown is more integrated at this point than the upload experience. The upload experience was launching a separate tab, but in the future, it can launch an internal window. So that I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I believe that's a work in progress right now.
Just nod, Mark. Nod.
Yeah, exactly that. We are always.
Right, let's hope there's no more questions for Mark. Maybe you can type something in there. Does the integration only work with FC Express? I'm going on question 3, Mark. I'll do this just in case you break out. Does the integration only work with FC Express, or can it interface with Hot Folder, FC Workflow? If yes, can you detail the workflow? Is that something to take offline? I don't know who asked that question, but maybe we can provide some information on that after the call.
I mean, we've been working with File Catalyst through our standard Samba and Matrix Store file systems for years, and had several customers over the last 10 years doing that. Where we just mount as a local file system, and like you said, hot folders and File Catalyst itself just talks to Matrix Store on a standard interface. So that is certainly a workflow we support and customers use quite regularly. It's just the further API integration into Vision will allow us more workflows in that way.
Yeah, very true. Question for you, Chris. We see help systems at the NAB show with their own stand, or will you have your own identity?
The plan, I believe, for this NAB, assuming it happens, is a File Catalyst by Help Systems stand. Sorry, you're shaking your head. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you're saying technical difficulties. Yeah, well, we should be there. NAB has basically held some of our money hostage, so we're going in some capacity, I believe. The branding, regardless, I believe at this point it's going to be File Catalyst by Help Systems, as you see on the screen. Obviously, over time, we'll see what happens, but the File Catalyst products are going to remain regardless. It might be a Help Systems booth with a File Catalyst product because, as I mentioned, Help Systems has a number of products under their portfolio, and a lot of them aren't necessarily geared towards media and entertainment yet. So that's part of the reason for the acquisition, is to kind of get a little bit more of a base in media and entertainment. So just to name another one off the top of my head is a company called Vera, V-E-R-A, and they provide DRM for securing video content. So you may see a Help Systems booth at some point with File Catalyst, Go Anywhere, which is going to be more tailored towards media and entertainment, and a Vera or a combined solution between all of them. But the File Catalyst products themselves will remain as standalone as well, as they always have been. Obviously, continue to support our customers and continue to sell it going forward as a standalone. But the focus will be on integrating with bigger products and ISVs. It's something we've already been doing, but that's something we'll continue to try and push towards.
If there are any more questions, there is a cheeky question at the end there about Penderyn, but all will become clear on that in a moment. Any more questions out there?
I mean, the only other one we were going to discuss was security, and how security features heavily in both File Catalyst and Matrix Store.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, the nature of our customers, whether they're in advertising or production, the security of their content is super important. And our solution is bulletproof in terms of digital content governance. So how protected is my data? We have audits to tell you who's accessed that content and when. We have the ability to lock down data with retention periods so that nobody can delete that content until a retention period has passed, which is certainly good for the sort of more corporate customers. And our solution has just basically been hardened since the beginning. We built security with sort of from the ground up at the beginning. And if you're sharing or moving data around the globe through the internet, then obviously security of that content is very, very important. And I'm sure Chris has some comment on security from their side.
Yeah, for sure, Nick. So in a context of an integration with a tool like Object Matrix and Vision, File Catalyst is providing just a file transport. So anything in around login security or the files at rest on the storage is provided by Object Matrix. Where File Catalyst comes in is just the in-transit portion here. So in that, we use AES 256-bit encryption on the data in transit. We transfer with UDP. The keys per file are rotated. So that the files are going to be secured in flight. And then when they land, again, it's turned back over. But there's a few other things that File Catalyst can do to protect itself, because it is a File Catalyst server that's running in the background, and you don't want any bad parties connecting to the File Catalyst server. So user accounts, virtual folders, and that sort of thing are all controlled tightly by Object Matrix. File Catalyst does have white and blacklisting of IP capabilities. It has brute force password detections. It can automatically ban IP addresses for too many failed login attempts. It can also automatically shut down user accounts for too many failed login attempts. These are facilities that can be used on the Object Matrix side or any ISV who's integrated File Catalyst to protect the system. Obviously, we encourage that they use that. And that's from the standpoint of an integration like this. That's where we would end and turn things back over to Object Matrix again on the web login, making sure it's secure sign in and access to content is restricted to only those that are authorized.
There you go.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No more questions from the audience. So we've have a bit of some surprise questions for Chris. Obviously, Welsh Canadian links have been strong over many years. Now, Chris, I can see the light off your screen as you bring up Wikipedia. And Chris, if you answer,
no, it's not. It's a window.
So there are actually 3 questions. We lied to you. If you can answer 2 of these questions correctly, you get this bottle of Welsh whiskey. Now, really? I know you've got the first question right because you've already got Wikipedia open and you told us the answer to this question earlier. So how many, without looking again, how many castles are there in Wales? Correct.
Okay.
Right. So we're known for having obviously incredible singing voices. Can you name at least one famous Welsh singer?
Oh, man. Is Adele Welsh?
Actually, there is apparently. Well, I mean, if they've got a quarter Welsh, we will claim them as our own. But not the most famous Welsh singer. No. I'll give you the green grass of home and Delilah are 2 of. Here we go. Go into Google. That's cheating, Chris. I'm disappointed.
Tom Jones?
There you go. Well, there you get Tom. You're getting half.
There you go. 2 to 3.
Right. So now,
can I say,
pronounce both of those Welsh towns.
It's going to be a very English-sounding pronunciation,
Go
but
for it.
Tony Raphael.
Brilliant. That's it.
Enos Ebol.
No, say that one again, please.
Enos Ebol.
The last bit's not too bad. So the first one is Tonarevol.
Okay.
And the second one is Inisabul.
Inisabul. Okay.
We'll take those perfectly, and I may actually use your pronunciation of Inisabul as one of my ringtones. That's brilliant.
I'm working on French classes with my son, so that's why the E sound.
There you go.
It's just
Yeah,
stuck in my
good
head now.
excuse. Good excuse. Right, brilliant. Well, I think you've deserved the bottle of premium Welsh whiskey. A lot of my friends on this call who've been abusing my COVID hair and almost beard will not be having any Welsh whiskey this year for that. So you let us know an address and we'll get that sent to you.
Sounds good. And by the way, you're not getting off that easy. I've got to ask you some Canadian questions. I'll make it quick because I know we're probably boring people, but can you name a famous Canadian cuisine?
Yes, what's the poutine, gravy on chips.
Okay, got it. That's a little bit too easy. How many Canadian provinces are there?
Oh, that's harsh. I'm going to go 20.
No. Okay. Anyways, I'll let you go on that, but I'm definitely sending you back a bottle of something Canadian.
Okay.
Canadian
Excellent.
rye, probably.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time today, Chris, and also thanks to everyone who helped us put together the webinar. But if you have any questions or if you'd like to find out more, both File Catalyst and Object Matrix work with amazing reseller partners around the world, a number of whom are on this call. Or please do visit our websites or get in touch on social media. We'd be really delighted to have a conversation with you. So from foggy, misty Cardiff, it's goodbye from me.
And bye from a snowy Ottawa, Canada.
Lucky.
And assuming I don't cut out, bye from South Somerset.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.